Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the rescheduled February meeting of the Horry County Solid Waste Authority. Let's bow our heads. Eternal God, our Father, we thank you for the blessing of this day. We thank you for the opportunity of all of us being able to get to the meeting. We pray, Father, that you would guide us now as we conduct the business for the Solid Waste Authority and the citizens of Horry County. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Mike Campbell, would you lead us?
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The agenda is before you, or you should have received a copy of the agenda. Are there any changes or adjustments that we need to make to the agenda? If not, the chair will entertain a motion that we approve the agenda.
So be it.
Is that properly moved in second that we approve the agenda as is? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposes? The approval of the minutes, we have 3 sets of minutes. The January 20th workshop, the January 20th regular meeting, and the February 11th pre-budget workshop. Are there any questions, concerns, or changes as it relates to any of these 3? Chair recognizes none. Can we have a motion to adopt?
So moved. Second.
Been properly moved in second that we accept our minutes for the workshop, the regular meeting, and the pre-budget workshop. All in favor, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes? Ayes have it, so ordered. We need to do an employee recognition. Mr. Knight?
Tommy, you come to the front. Board, this is Tommy Bell, one of our drivers. He is not scared of a bear, but he would rather not be here tonight.
You're exactly right.
But coming to work a couple of weeks ago, early one morning, I was coming west on 90, and there was a Jag on my bumper, and it was just back and forth, back and forth. And we got up by the International Drive, and I said, when this car passes me, I was meeting a vehicle. I said, he gonna blow it out. And by that time, I saw Tommy Bell's truck pull up to 90 out of the recycling center, and the car passed, and he went ahead and pulled out behind it. And as soon as that car got past me, the Jag went around me. And I said, So I pulled over, and Tommy, keeping his eyes open and doing defensive driving, saw the car and just pulled right over on the shoulder. And the guy had enough room to get through. But it could have been a very bad day for the Jaguar. And I just wanted to recognize Tommy for being the driver that he is.
Good job. Yes, sir.
And I definitely appreciate it.
And let me say, too,
Yes.
Tommy's got a daughter that's a sophomore at Socastee High School, and I think she's played varsity ball for 3 years.
3 years. 8th grade. Started.
And in the end of the season, they had 5 members on the team. And what'd she average, Tommy?
She averaged maybe anywhere between 15 to 25 points a game.
Yeah.
Oh, how neat. Yes.
She's gonna be good. But thanks for being a good employee, Tommy.
Yes. All right.
Let's see if we can't talk her into going to South Carolina, Tommy.
I hate to say it, but her mom graduated from Clemson, so I think she's going to Clemson.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. I sure appreciate that.
We won't hold your wife's school against you. Thank you, Tommy. Any public input? We've not been informed of any. Okay. Departmental reports and updates, recycling, Ms. Murphy.
Good evening,
Hello.
early afternoon. My report begins on page 40. Want to update you first on a new customer recognition program that we began. It was one of our goals for this fiscal year. The caught green-handed recognition. And basically what this will do will recognize a resident using one of the 24 recycling centers and recycling at that center. It's a very random selection. No one knows when we're going to go out. We're doing this monthly. No one knows when we're going out or what center we'll be at. But we did our first one a couple of weeks ago. Myself, Mr. Knight, Mr. Cannon, Mr. Suggs, and Mr. William Casey went up to Jackson Bluff, which is a busy center. Danny set the time, and we determined that 10:01, I believe, was the time. Whoever were recycling at that point in time would be our caught green-handed recipient. So Miss Loretta Miller was there with a good bit of recycling and was gracious enough to accept the offer of recognition. Her picture's in your board packet. She is a frequent recycler at Jackson Bluff and was very excited and thankful for the recognition. We've also sent this to all of the local newspapers, and I don't know if any of you saw it today, but it was in the Ori Independent. So this is something we'll be doing every month. So hopefully.
So tell us what was in the prize pack that
Why you want to know? The prize packet contains several Solid Waste Authority items, a cup, a pen, some literature on our organization, as well as a gift card. We all have our preference of gift cards, so since we're doing this monthly, I purchased 3 gift cards. They're $25 in value, and they get to choose what gift card they want. And so I'm fair. There was one for $25 in gas, one for a restaurant chain, and one for a local superstore. Yeah, it was Walmart. Anyway, so she had the option to choose. She had the option to choose, and she chose the superstore. Just saying, that's a good place to go.
Very good.
But we're excited, and she very, very lovely lady. The other 2 items I want to just give an update on are basically just reminders. I think most of the board members have registered for the Carolina Recycling Association Conference, which begins on March 23rd through the 26th. If you have not registered and you want to, please let me know this evening and we'll get that taken care of. I just want to highlight one thing during the conference. Preliminary agenda was included in your packet. Day 1 is the day that they will have tours, and we are scheduled to host a tour here that afternoon. So we're looking forward to that. My last update is on the Statement of Economic Interest. I believe just about everybody has sent us notification that they've completed their filing. If you have not and you need assistance, please see Ms. Nanette Powell. Any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Hilling?
Good afternoon to everybody. Some updates on our projects on the landfill. First, the 30-acre closure. We're now more than 50% finished on the whole project. Most all the liner has been put down. The first 11 acres, you've got a couple pictures in your board book, and thought they might be up there, but maybe not. Anyway, the first 11 has been seeded. The berms have been matted. We do have some grass starting to sprig out there just a little bit. So hopefully we get a little break in the weather. As everybody knows, it's been pretty bad here. But can't really see them real good on these pictures here, but you can in your board book. But it is starting to get some grass out there. Pretty much now through the end of the contract time, substantial's been pushed out through January, all the way to April 20th. However, this week, we hadn't had anything done. This month, again, we've had over 5 inches of rain out on the landfill. So that's really kind of delayed the project a little bit more. But pretty much now through the end, other than a little bit of electrical work on the final 2 side risers, it's just hauling dirt. So again, welcome you to come out anytime. Give me a call. Love to take you out there and show you the project. I don't know if any of you have seen it in some time, but probably not a good day this week or today with this mud, but come on out. We'll take you out there and let you see that.
I believe Chris said we got 3 inches of rain here last night.
That's correct,
Yeah.
3.1 last night. So we have had, you can see the dates in your board book, it's pushed it out almost 60 days just with the weather we had when the project started. So, of course, everybody, I mean, when you walk around your yards at home, you can feel how just kind of mushy it is. So everybody knows that. Next thing, we sent out bids back in September for a new baler for the C&D Recycle Process Center over there. We got the bids in. Excel was the lowest cost proposal, and we had one out there. We awarded the contract to them. They installed that about 2 weeks ago. Things are going good. It should help reduce some downtime out there, plus we're also looking for our bale weights to increase, hopefully by about 100 pounds. There's a couple pictures in your board book of that, one from both sides. You can see a really good installation. The baler runs continuously. As we load and cardboard in there, it kicks the bales out. We get about 35 bales. We got a load, and we get it transported out. But it was a good addition over there. The other one was almost 20 years old. So we had gotten our worth out of that one over there. So looking for, like I said, decreased downtime, increased bale weights. Last thing, our driver of the month for January is Kyle Tomac from Monarch Roofing. He's usually in here at 6 a.m. in the morning. It's kind of hard to grab his picture, but Chris was able to get his shot when he came in. He's in here first thing in the morning, and he's out on the job all day long. So anyway, he's a good recipient, and we were glad to give him our driver of the month. So, any questions?
I see that you just, no information whatsoever on, potential change orders or anything like that.
No, sir. There's none on the horizon. Everything right now is just dirt. There's nothing else out there. So, talking with them, we get our weekly emails and, on Fridays, and there's no indication from the engineer that, there's gonna be any change orders. And we're talking with them pretty much daily, too. I'm asking, anything coming up I need to alert y'all about. There's nothing.
Has all the rain that we've had in the last month or so caused them to have to do anything differently or redo some of the work they've done?
They've had to go back, and some of it is kind of washed down a little bit toward the bottom, and they've pushed it back up and tried to utilize everything that was down there so we don't have another change order. Yeah, but there has been some repairs. The first 11, actually having those berms in place and having the matting and the seating down there, but especially the matting, it diverted a lot of that water away, and it did protect what they had already done.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. The financial reports begin on page 66. Just a couple things I want to point out on this page. As I've mentioned to you at the last couple of meetings, of course, that the recyclable sales from the MRF, the revenue is down. If you look in the middle of that page, you can see for 7 months compared to last year's 7 months, we are at almost a 12% decrease in revenue just on the MRF recyclable sales. We're still, like I said, seeing that decrease. It kind of has leveled off a little bit. We haven't seen any more drastic decreases as of yet, so hopefully it'll kind of stay at this level and not drop any more. Down at the bottom of the page, as you can see, the C&D processing facility, they have saved year-to-date 28.21 days of airspace, and the MRF has saved 53.55 days of airspace through 7 months. over on page 68, which is our income statement, for the month, we were at a deficit of expenses over revenues by 182,000, almost 183,000. We are still for the year, revenues are over expenses by 350,000. As you can see, our revenue is currently at 53% of budget. We should be at 58.31% of budget. At the 58% of budget, our revenue should be at 11.3 million, and as you can see, we're at 10.3. So we're just about $1 million under budget on our revenue overall. And on the expenses, the same thing, we're at 51.6% of budget. For 11 months, we should be at, like I said, the same thing, 11.3, and so we're 1.3 million under budget on our expenses. So staff is doing a really good job to kind of maintain their expenses. Like I said, we are watching them very closely. I've kind of met with Bill and with Esther, and we've decided that, we're really gonna, since the prices have dropped so drastically in the sales and recyclable sales, we're gonna really monitor our expenses, purchase those things that are an absolute necessity, try to hold off on anything that we can put off, just so we can, like I said, try to maintain our expenses down since we know the revenue is down. It's hard to do when we're this late in the year, of course, and when the prices drop like that, it makes it very difficult. But like I said, I have to commend Esther and Bill have been really good. They've come to me if they've got something that they know they have to purchase. We've talked about it to see where we could maybe save somewhere else so they can make that purchase. So they're doing a good job watching that. On page 69, which is the revenue, just wanted to kind of point out to you there, where we're kind of falling. Again, like I said, if you look in the middle of the page, the recyclable sales are only at 50% of budget. So they're about $248,000 below where we anticipate being for 7 months, whereas the tipping fees are at 62% of budget. So they're about $350,000 above our budgeted revenue. So, like I said, we are seeing, like I said, a slight increase in our tipping fees if we could just get our recyclable sales back up. On page 70, which is the operating expenses, just wanted to show you there. Like I said, 7 months, like I said, we should be at 58% of budget, and as you see, each department is below budget right now. Like I said, they're all maintaining, they're keeping their expenses below budget. Just wanted to point out on page 72, I think I handed out to everybody at their page, we had a typo. The FY15 year-to-date total tonnage figures did not get updated in what was in your packet, so I wanted to give you an updated sheet there. Just so it didn't look so out of whack. Like I said, I do apologize for that. Like I said, our mixed construction continues to remain about 20% below where we were last year, which is what we had anticipated, of course, with the loss of flow control. But we are staying on track, a little bit above, really, where we had budgeted for this year. So that's pretty good for those. Any questions on the revenue or on the financial reports?
So you're saying that the columns 3, 5, and 6 on the last sheet is the one that's out of whack, right? The FY total?
Yes, sir. All the other columns were correct. The
difference?
FY15 year-to-date, that column was incorrect.
Okay, and so that means the difference and the percentages are?
That's exactly right, yes, sir. The percentages were incorrect. That's what drew it to my attention, like I said, because I knew our solid waste was above last year's.
Okay. Everyone sees that, right? Okay.
Okay, the other thing I have for you is the quarterly transfer. Like I said, I normally would have had that for you in January, and like I said, when we changed the board meeting date, I was unable to have that ready, prepared for you at that time. What we've got here is, like I said, we have a recommendation to transfer money back out of piggyback construction, $375,000 to transfer back out, and $6,225 back out of the MRF contingency. Like I said, every quarter when I take a look at this, like I said, normally we are able to do a transfer to these accounts. If you remember, the first quarter, we did a transfer of a little over $1 million. It was 1.1 that we transferred into the piggyback expansion, into the MRF contingency. So by doing this transfer back out, it's kind of leveling it off, I guess I would say. We normally average about a $350,000 to $400,000 transfer each quarter. I think our first quarter was a little bit high, like I said, because it was it's the first time we're putting everything back to the previous year, so it tended to be a little bit higher than normal. So this doesn't concern me too much. Like I said, I feel like this is kind of leveling off. Normally we see this happen in our third quarter, because that's usually when we're hit the hardest, is during the third quarter. So anyway, so I just need the board's approval to transfer the money, the $375,000 back out of piggyback and the $6,225 out of the MRF contingency back into the undesignated.
Okay, now question, do you have a sheet on the 625?
A sheet on the 626,000,
Right,
right there in the middle of the
Okay.
page.
all right, the minus 6225, okay.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking
That's what we
100, okay.
transferred. The first quarter, they were able to transfer it in, now we're having to transfer it back out.
Gotcha. Any questions?
What are you transferring it out to pay for?
I'm sorry?
What are you transferring it out to pay for?
Nothing, we just transfer it back into our undesignated funds. When we have an overage, we take a look at, as you can see at the top, when we have an overage of cash as a percentage of total revenues, we take that and we transfer that into we've been putting it into piggyback because we know that that account's going to be short. So now we ran into a quarter where we need to put the money back because we have to maintain that 15%. And so we're putting it back into the undesignated.
Okay, thank you.
Chair will entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation.
So moved.
And probably moved in second that we accept staff's recommendation regarding the transfer of funds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposes? Ayes have it and so ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you. We want to commend staff too on their best to maintain, stay under budget. We appreciate your efforts.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
On the recycling incentive program, we've issued $187,476 in incentives year-to-date. That's averaging about $26,008 a month. Of that, about a little over $21,000 is going to MSW, and a little over $5,000 of it's in the C&D recycling facility per month. At the current rate, if we was to stay at the $26,008 average a month, we should be fine within our budget. It gives us about $13,000 or so left over, but typically it'll start increasing some as soon as the beach opens up, April, May timeframe. So we think we're going to be close on the budget, but we will stay within that budgeted number, hopefully. Any questions on that? Solid waste management plan update. I'll give you a little bit on that. We've had the city of North Myrtle Beach, Briarcliff, Town of Aner, and Surfside Beaches approve a resolution in support of the plan. City of Myrtle Beach deferred that Monday for us to come back. The city of Loris, city of Conway, Town of Atlantic Beach, and those dates I sent to y'all, which will be the March 2nd, March 2nd, March 16th, and Atlantic Beach will be on the 6th. We will be bringing those back to y'all with the comments or suggestions in the board meeting in April. And the information that we did, we'll make those recommendations of what they did, and then the board will be able to adjust the plan if they so choose at that time. And we'll send it to county council. Any questions?
Have you had any comments from the ones that have already passed it?
No, a lot of them's meeting was all on the same night. You had North Myrtle Beach, Briarcliff, and the town of Aner was all on the same night. They approved the resolution all on the same day. The dates are the same on it, so. But I have not got any comments back from any of those when they sent it to me.
Do you know why Myrtle Beach deferred it?
They wanted some more information. They wanted us to come back and do a presentation in front of them.
Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Creech, I think they deferred, that's probably one of the worst meetings I've sat through in Myrtle Beach. And they deferred it because they had gotten some information from a board member. So I guess we will find out when we go back where they stand.
That's incorrect information. I don't think that Myrtle Beach deferred it for the reasons stated, and I think the best thing to do is to ask the city of Myrtle Beach why they deferred it. Among other things, I was there. They said they didn't have a copy of the resolution. Mike, you heard the same thing. And apparently they decided to wait until such time as the resolution was in front of them. I didn't go to the council meeting. I was just at the workshop. But I don't want to leave the impression that Mr. Knight put out. That he's entitled to his opinion, but I differ with that opinion. That's all that it is, his opinion. It didn't come from the city of Myrtle Beach.
They did have a copy of the program because the city manager stepped up and said, hey, folks, I made a mistake. It's our mistake. It doesn't have anything to do with the Solid Waste Authority. And he said, I will get you a copy as soon as I can. So that was the reason that it was the city manager stepped up and said, hey, it was a mistake on the city of Myrtle Beach part. Because if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Bassett, didn't you offer a copy of the plan at the mayor's meeting, or it's not the mayor's meeting, but the League of Cities meeting? Didn't you offer everybody a copy?
All the council members and mayors that were there offered. I had a copy ready for those who wanted to take it. Also emailed a electronic copy to all cities as I was asking them for the resolution.
I would also think that they had a representative. Didn't all the cities have a representative on that board, on that technical committee?
Yes, ma'am. They had the ability to have some. Loris didn't have one. Aina didn't have one. Briarcliff didn't. They could have come, but they didn't come to the meeting.
Okay, I would think that the people on that technical committee would have been talking with their staff and their local politicians, wouldn't they? Or,
That's typically what happens.
okay, thank you.
But the city did have a copy of it. It just had not been passed out to the council people.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Gray's comment. Mr. Gray, that's not my opinion. I've listened to the tapes of the meeting, and that's on their tape that I picked up today, the reason they took it off the agenda. And I welcome you to listen to it.
I was there. I'm the board meeting that board member that you referred to. And there was never any comment that we're not going to take action on this because a board member spoke to it.
You also said you weren't at the meeting.
What meeting are you referring to?
The council meeting.
I was not at the council
That's
meeting.
where they made that statement, when they took it off the agenda at their council meeting.
Okay, you're saying that your interpretation of the minutes of the meeting is that Myrtle Beach deferred action because they heard from a board member?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what, they're just not minutes, it's a tape of the meeting. They're very clear.
Yeah. Well, I will take your advice and listen to that.
Too.
And, but let me say that I think a mountain is being made out of a molehill. The fact that the city did not have before it, no matter what the reason, the resolution that was being asked, and they just said, well, why don't you come back and talk to us a little bit more? What's the big deal? You haven't even been to half the cities yet. So I just don't see the point of bringing all this up except to try to disparage me.
No, well, I haven't called your name.
Well, of course, everyone here knows Mike was there. We all know who you're talking about, and you'll bring it out later. I'm just thinking, I think it's unnecessary for you to insult a board member and to make such insinuations and accusations.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Bassett?
Yeah, I wanted to bring the board up some legislative issues that's going on in Columbia. There's the Consumer Electronics Bill has passed the House, and they've adjourned debate on it. That's the electronics, TV and electronics recycling. They've adjourned debate on that. It is in front of the Senate Agriculture and Natural Resources, and looks like will adjourn debate on it next week. And if that's the thing, all the regulations for the TV electronics recycling will come effective on May 20th. So those will finally get passed and completed. There's a bill, Senate Bill 228, that removes the DHEC board from hearing appeals as it relates to permits that's been issued by DHEC staff. That one's being debated. And there's a bill to remove steel slag from the definition of solid waste, which releases that stuff to be, say, as recyclables as well. Those are some of the things that bills that's up there. And also, there's several amendments up there to deal with the Solid Waste Management Act. They want to add a definition for recovered materials processing facilities, which defines those. What definition of what a used tire is, so that people can't say that I've got a bunch of used tires over here that can be reused. It's not a dump, a tire dump. So they want to define that. And add financial assurance to recycling facilities and registered and permit facilities. Any facilities that register permitted must have a financial assurance plan. Another thing in the plan that's being looked at is taking DHEC out of the zoning and leaving it to the counties. Currently, the court said a few years back that only DHEC could determine whether the zoning was proper. They're trying to get that out. And also, they're trying to fix it where that places that you put structural fill in can't have wood and stuff mixed in with it, where they fill in areas with concrete and blocks and bricks and stuff like that. They're looking to try to fix it where that you can't have wood and other products mixed in with it when you're doing that. So those are some of the things they've got in the Solid Waste Management Act that they look at trying to change. Any other questions?
I'm assuming that the staff will be at the DHEC central office for the Solid Waste Advisory Council.
We don't have anyone on that board, on the Solid Waste Advisory Council board meeting.
Will you go to the meetings to hear what they're discussing?
We typically have not.
Does our lobbyist?
I don't know if he went to the last one or not. I can check and find out.
He had a contact there.
He's got to contact him, yeah.
And he will at all of the other meetings that are going to be held in March, and I would assume, because I think we need to know what they're deciding to do on this. Thank you.
What meetings are you referring to?
In Columbia, starting on March the 18th, they're having Solid Waste Advisory Council meetings that advise DHEC on the preparation of the state solid waste management plan.
Could I get a copy of your? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Veston, going back to the e-waste, I saw a notice that the House of Blues was doing a e-waste recycling. Have we worked with them, or are they doing that through us, or I don't recall the date, but I know they were asking for e-waste to be dropped off at the House of Blues.
No, sir. Ooh, that. Hello. Yes. No, we're not working in conjunction with that particular event. That's done through the Wellness Council, which is a standalone group that does various environmental programs in Horry County. We are aware of it. Not familiar with the group that's actually doing the collection of the e-waste, but we are aware of the program that they're going to be doing.
Good. Thank you.
Mr. Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One thing that I would like to bring up is the Montgomery, Alabama. We have got another contact with them. They have made a date available to us, and talked to Reverend Coakley this afternoon about it, and you want to inform them.
Yes, for more information on the repowering information, we are offering board members the opportunity to go to Montgomery. Let me get the correct dates. April 27th, is it? We are looking at going to Montgomery. We'll go down on the 27th. We will do a tour of facilities on the 28th, and then we will return on the 29th. And in view of where the county is with these efforts for the repower, we are offering it to as many board members who want to go. We feel that we need to all be informed as much as possible on it. So if you're able to do that, then if you're able to make the trip, we need you to get the information in to us as soon as possible so that we can make plans, because we have to get everybody who's attending, we have to submit information on you, get you approved to go through the facility, as well as get your flight arrangements. So if you're interested in that, we need to know that, if possible, at the end of the meeting. If not, we'll set a time for that. Any questions on that?
Well, volunteer now or what, or?
You
later?
can volunteer now or at the end of the meeting, either one. We just need to know, but we need to know as soon as possible, preferably today, who can go. If you need a little more time to find out, then you can have that as well.
I can and will go.
Okay. Anyone else?
Thank you for making it available to all of us.
Is there a scheduled time for departing and returning?
No, we haven't done that, but we're looking at doing it relatively mid-morning, going
Right.
early morning to come back.
Okay.
Like to get down there and utilize that afternoon as much as we can for, you know, if we can arrange other tours of what they have going on down there.
I noticed that our regular meeting is scheduled for the 28th.
Yeah, we're going to discuss that.
Yeah.
We'll discuss that also. Anyone else want to give Mr. Knight your name now? If not, you can do that after the meeting. Yeah. Okay. Finance Administration Committee, we need your report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we did meet on February the 4th, Finance Administration Committee. We got an update from the Finance Department. We discussed the budget process and the schedule. Lastly, we talked about the financial reports and any modifications that needed to be made. There were no action items and no votes taken.
Okay. Any old business? Okay, new business. We need to look at the March meeting. Your dates, that is the same week as the conference. And so we're going to have to change the March meeting date from, let me get to my calendar now. Right now, we're scheduled to meet on the 24th. I'm recommending that we meet on the 31st. And I'm recommending that we meet around 3:30 in the afternoon versus waiting until 5:30. Is that a conflict for anyone?
What was that date again?
March 31st,
Tuesday, March 31st.
Tuesday, March 31st,
Fine with me.
3:30?
3:30 in the afternoon, if it's okay with everyone. Okay, next issue is April meeting with the trip being on the 27th, 28th, and 29th. We need to look at an alternate date for that. I'd recommend that we do it the last day of the month, April 30th. That's a Thursday. I know you're tired from taking a trip, but, you know, we just need another hour and a half of more of you on that week. Is that a conflict for anyone?
A lot of my Ride 3 meetings are done on Thursday night, and they haven't set the last ones of those are going to be in March and April, so.
Well, I'd recommend we go in the afternoon around 3:30 with this as
That
well.
would be okay. That would be okay.
April 30th at 3:30. Otherwise, we'd have to move back up too far in the month. The 21st is a conflict for me as well, so both 21st and 28th would be out. And I don't think we want to go back beyond halfway of the month with it, so the 30th would be the best date.
What time?
3:30
On the 30th.
on the 30th. Is that a problem for you?
That works for me.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any other items for roundtable? Any items for roundtable?
Yes.
Yes.
Since Mr. Knight brought it up, I'd like for the board members to know fully what took place on Tuesday at the Myrtle Beach City Council workshop. I was asked by mayor and council as representative from Myrtle Beach and Surfside to appear and to give a report on the Solid Waste Authority, which I did. I spoke very glowingly and positively about the Solid Waste Authority and recommended adoption of the plan. I also did the same thing for the same reason at the city of Surfside Tuesday night. I went down there. I was the only person from the Solid Waste Authority. I gave a glowing report of the Solid Waste Authority, and I was there at the request of mayor and council as their representative on the Solid Waste Authority Board in the sense of being a South Strand representative from the League of Cities. I was not an interloper. I was not speaking out of turn. I was invited. In fact, I was chided a little bit for not having appeared before. So I did what I felt to be my duty to this board, to this organization. I spoke nary a disparaging word and spoke glowingly and recommended adoption. Now, as to why Myrtle Beach City Council at their regular meeting that afternoon decided to roll over, I can only take your word, and that is that they used the appearance of yourself. In fact, you told me you wanted to know what it was you said. You couldn't remember. The representative, they could have decided that they didn't like what you had to say. Two of us spoke. And I don't know why they did what they did, but I know they meet every 2 weeks. I just don't see it as being a big deal. I'm sure they will adopt it, especially since both you and I, as executive director and their representative, recommend that they do so.
And Mr. Gray, I don't think you said anything, you did say some very positive things about us, and I was very appreciative of that. And I really didn't know till I listened to the tape why they said they took it off the agenda. But I've got the tape in the office, and you can certainly listen to it before you leave tonight if you care to.
And I know you have the tape. I offered to bring it over to you. I thought it was the tape of the meeting where you spoke. You're talking about a tape.
It's a tape of both of them.
Both, okay. But I accept that, but I can't control why somebody defers, says the reason that they did something. I can tell you that, in my view, they did not do it because I spoke glowingly of the Solid Waste Authority and recommended that they adopt the resolution. What they said was they didn't have it in front of them. And somebody here tonight, Mike, said that they asked that we come back with another or a different presentation.
We're waiting on them.
Thank you.
Any other comment? one of the things that we've been asked to provide for some clarity for Myrtle Beach, and that is what we as board members are allowed to say and whether or not we are allowed to go back to our agency or to our supporting agency to provide reports. And I think that's where some of the confusion came in, Mr. Gray, in which we're providing that for Myrtle Beach at this time. And that was some of the issue that they had. They were concerned because they got the impression that you were not allowed to speak on behalf of the Solid Waste Authority. And so that was some of the things that they requested, some
Well, that's
information on.
Clearly, the
Yeah.
letter and intent of our rules, Article 5, paragraphs 5, 6, and 5, 8, which I voted against, have expressed my views on a number of occasions are inappropriate. They've not been seen or approved by county council. 5, 6 says no member shall propose to speak or act for on behalf of the authority unless such action has been approved by affirmative vote of the board. And then it says
That
further,
you have a misunderstanding of that rule.
I read the English.
No, let me make a statement. You were recommended to this board by Myrtle Beach.
Surfside and Myrtle Beach,
Well,
League of
yeah.
Cities, then county council.
Well, that my point is that you are a representative of them. Therefore, you have the right to go back and report what goes on in our meetings to them. What the rule refers to is you don't have the right to speak to the press or to other agencies and entities on behalf of the Solid Waste Authority without affirmation from this board.
Which
But-
I have not done.
But I'm saying, I'm clarifying the rule for you. The rule does not stop you from reporting to Myrtle Beach what's going on with the Solid Waste Authority. That is not the intent of the rule.
Well, why don't we just write that in, and so there's nobody's guessing as to what it means? Just write that in there and say that a board member may do so-and-so, and then there'll be no question about it.
Well, I mean, you're the only one who has questioned that part of the rule. I mean, everyone has understood that they have a right to go back to their agency and report of what goes on. I mean, that's just natural
All it takes
representation.
is one person. I'm a member of this board.
I
I'm
under-
asking that something be done. The rule's not clear. Why don't you just do it?
Because you're one vote, and not everyone feels the way that you feel, so therefore it doesn't necessarily require clarity.
Well,
It's
you're
just
giv-
your misunderstanding of the rule.
You're giving clarity. It's a matter of course now. And you're saying that it's okay for Mike Campbell to go speak to North Myrtle Beach City Council or Briarcliff or Atlantic Beach or John Long to go speak to Ainer or Conway. And that's clear?
Whoever is the agency that recommended him coming to the board initially, that's who they're allowed to go back and report to.
And it should be written in the rules.
That should not have to be written in the rule. That's an understanding. That's why you represent them.
Okay.
I mean, if Ocean View, as an example, your church sent you to a conference, then it's your right to go back to Ocean View and give a report of the conference. That's standard procedure. But you don't have a right to speak on behalf of the conference to anyone else and say, this is what the conference wants to do. But you have a right to go back to your agency. That's common knowledge.
So clarion clear. Why not just make it clear without any question at 5-6 and says that a board member who is a representative of
Well,
of the city.
believe it or not, to be perfectly honest, everybody felt it was clear until you came along. So the problem is,
I'm not the party at fault here. This
no, you're
board
not the
is
party at fault. But the problem is that you
there's
simply
no need to try to
misunderstood the rule
disparage
because you didn't like the rule.
in another kangaroo court. This was never presented to county council. It went over my recommendation to be adopted with such language. 5-8 is clearly illegal. Our own attorney says that that this board cannot remove a member. So why not clarify 5.6 and 5.8 and not have such restrictive language in the rules? And why not just go ahead and submit them as part of the bylaws?
Well, to be perfectly honest, if the focus wasn't so narrow, it would not need clarity.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Bassett, didn't you say that it had been presented to council along with the bylaws, the rules? So the county council has seen it, right?
When we submitted the bylaws to county council, we submitted along with those bylaws for their review, the rules. It didn't go for them to approve them, but it was submitted with them.
I think we're dealing with nuance. I think it was clear that these were not intended to be seen by county council. If you want to have them adopted by county council, just put it in there and ask them to read it and adopt it.
They're not required to read them and adopt them, so why do we have to send them?
I dispute that they were even submitted at all.
Well, that's your right.
Thank you.
That's your right to dispute it, but your right was one vote compared to the rest of the board. And you lost the right, you lost the vote, that's just
I
it.
haven't lost any votes to have these be presented to county council. There was never any,
It was never, they're never intended to go to county council. The rest of the board is fine, let me finish my statement. The rest of the board is fine without that because those are our rules, those are the rules of this board. It does not need the authority of county council to be enacted. Once we adopted them as a majority vote, they're our rules. Just because you choose not to accept the rules does not mean that they're inadequate, unacceptable, or illegal.
5.8 is clearly illegal. We are a component.
Illegal on the, who made it
We are a
illegal?
component unit of county government. Only county government can remove a member. 5.8 should just be stricken
We can
altogether.
recommend your removal.
Well, you didn't say that. It just says be removed
Well,
or censored.
What you're dealing with is you're dealing with grammar.
I'm not dealing with grammar.
No,
I'm
you're dealing with
plain
grammar.
King's English.
You're dealing with grammar.
And 5.6 is also not clear in that it just says you're not supposed to talk.
No, Dan, we've been through these discussions. You've not liked the discussions, so you continue to make an issue out of discussions. The board has voted the rules in place. They're in place because the rule of the majority governs, and that's how we're being governed. Whether you accept it or reject it, that's entirely up to you, but they are in place because it was adopted in the proper manner.
I'm
So,
not
you know-
suggesting that this board go against a vote that is already taken. I'm just saying that it is what it is. It's not proper or legal
By your definition,
by anybody's
No.
definition. And the
you
rule-
got
and you said
1,
this-
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other
this
folk who
board
disagree
said,
with
We're
you.
gonna make these rules and we don't care what anybody else thinks. So you got them.
And as a
And
board, we have that right.
I was asked by Myrtle Beach City Council and Mayor why I had not appeared before them.
Because you chose not to go because you misunderstood the rules, bottom line.
I didn't.
No one prevented you from doing anything.
I know the clear intent of this is for there
No,
not
you-
to be
No, the
somebody like
intent is to
myself
keep you
speaking.
from going off half-cocked in places you aren't supposed to go.
I've not been half-cocked anywhere. That's a term that
Again, that's
in
by,
fact,
that's
you are
interpretation.
being half-cocked at this time, in my view.
Again, that's an interpretation.
Well, again, that's an interpretation. I don't appreciate being called half-cocked.
Thank you. That's fine. You have your issues, I have mine as a board, we have ours as a board. But the decision of this board is the decision of the board by a vote of 6-1. End of discussion.
I'm not arguing that. I
Okay,
was asked
end of
why I did
discussion.
not, had not appeared before. I gave an honest answer.
No, you gave a confused and misunderstood answer.
I just said that we're prevented from being here.
But that's a lie, because you're not prevented.
It's not a lie. Earlier you said that I couldn't understand the language.
Attorney Britton, does the bylaws prevent him from going back to his reporting
No,
agency?
No, no, sir. The
Thank
bylaws-
you.
And I'd refer the board back to the training materials we had on the board team handbook. And there, it makes very clear, there's a distinction between a board member representing that representing action of the authority, and a board member who's merely making a report or voicing disagreement or stating an opinion. What the purpose of the provision in the bylaws is, it says that if, you know, if every one of you went out and said, I represent the authority and we think so-and-so, you're going to have a lot of
That's not an
different
issue. I haven't done that. I don't even claim that any of us have the right to do that. I don't know where you're reading
You haven't
from.
done anything wrong if you haven't done that, Mr. Ray. What we're saying is the rules do not prevent you from disagreeing with a decision or reporting what is going on in meetings to the council at all. It just says that a board member cannot go and commit to a contract or commit
Well,
to a
let's
position.
don't talk about what it prevents since I didn't do it. Let's just talk about what I did do. I was asked to appear. I gave a glowing, positive report about this board, and I recommended adoption. And Mr. Coakley, Dr. Coakley, has made it clear that this language is not clear, and he, in his
No,
own
you
words,
made it not clear, not me.
You-
I never said it was not clear.
this language, in his own words, really means that a board member is entitled to and should appear before his appointing body. That's good enough for me. If you don't want to put it in the rules, that's up to you.
Thank you. Then the issue's cleared up. Any other items for roundtable discussion? Is there any need for the executive session? Any other items for discussion? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Probably moved in second. Second. Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.